We're here to talk about primarily the David Clarke Railway. And this is something, actually, I've been aware of it for a very long time because my very good friend, Les Cliff, I believe you know as well, he moved in retirement to be closer to family down towards sort of that Loughborough, Leicester way. And he became involved with the David Clarke Railway, amongst other projects. And it's a very interesting railway. Can you tell us a little bit about the railway itself?
Yeah. So David Clarke and his team, they initially built it. It was about 40 years ago, and he had a drawing office in Mount Sorrel, which is where it was initially built. And that time it was a little bit shorter than what it is currently now. And he, like you mentioned at the start of the show, he built it as kind of like this. What's the way they describe it? It's like a technical exercise to basically show what could be done, and creating in miniature a realistic prototypical version of a working railway, involving all the signals and the block detection and how that all works as well, and the actual, say, proper working signal box, which is all wired in with hand-built levers and rods and everything, as you would in a real signal box, connecting it all together. Then it was relocated when he founded the foundation. It's the Shuttlewood, not Shuttleworth. I used to call it Shuttleworth, and a lot of people do. It's Shuttlewood. It's not to be confused with the aircraft collection in Biggleswade. It's completely separate to them. So the Shuttlewood Foundation he founded, and when he did that, he relocated the railway away from this drawing office in Mount Sorrel to its current location. And one of the main reasons for that is literally the location. The barn, which he put it in, was outside his house. So for security reasons, and that, he had it there. So, and then over the next 10 years, they worked on renovating it, putting a lot of it back together. They extended it, and then built up the building and that around it as well. And I say it was a process of 10 years. And you think that's like the current volunteer base who are in there now. When they did this, these guys were in their 40s, middle age sort of things, and it took them 10 years to do it now. The original team now, those that are left, are in their 90s. They don't have the years or the fitness or anything to move it again and go through the sort of process that was beforehand. And they certainly don't have the manpower to do that either.
And also, I mean, moving it as well. Actually, I've just got Les Cliff is come in the chat. He says it's 52 years old. So my guess of about 50 years was actually the ballpark. So then it was built as a signalling exercise. He said he sold a Ferrari P4 for £5 million, and that's the money that he used to start the foundation. But when it was moved last, I was talking to Les about this some time ago. It took several articulated lorries to move it, and
3 lorries and a crane.
And because the building was in the process of construction, they were able to take it in through what is now a wall. So the idea of just taking it out over a weekend is completely ridiculous. You'd
have to cut it into sections to fit through a fire escape.
Yes.
Whereas, I say, it is possible, but the actual feasibility of it, it's just not practical.
I mean, you'd destroy it in the process.
It just wouldn't work. So when you look at it, I think it would have to have a significant financial backer behind it, and someone who is willing to do the work and take it on to do it, which I don't think it's going to get, or it's going to go in a skip. And if that happened, I know a lot of people. I've rescued a layout myself, much to my own misfortune. It's 36 foot long in boxes in the garage, but in this case, it'd be like I would be looking to at least rescue something like that, the station areas and stuff in sections, and then potentially offering to like convert them into exhibition layouts, so then so the work can still be seen and stuff. But these are worst case scenarios. We're kind of like between myself and a number of other people who are doing like things behind the scenes and trying to get things to work. There's a case of there's planning for the worst and thinking, okay, all right, so we need to have a backup plan if it does need to be moved. But the main thing is trying to convince the trustees that they've made a really stupid decision.
Yeah.
And not just that alone, the fact that they've been made a really stupid decision the way they've managed it for the last 30 years.
So the foundation itself, what's the reasoning behind them now saying that they want the railway gone? Why has this come about? And do we know what the reasoning is behind it?
Yeah, we do. Basically, it's finances. The charity is struggling financially, as all charities pretty much are in 2025. That is understandable. And they see it as the only revenue stream which they've got coming in are the charity shops on site. Now, these charity shops, they're selling tat, to be blunt. We're talking 50p teddy bears, second-hand jigsaws, maybe some old clothes. And they've come out with some very questionable figures for what they seem to think they make on these charity shops, and that's a whole other matter, which I'm not going to go into. But they've decided that they think, because they've got this building on site, which they're currently paying to heat and put electric in, and it's just got a model railway in it, which they don't understand, they don't know anything about, they don't understand the history or what's involved with it. The trustees have never actually been to visit it, apart from to hand them the eviction notice, apparently. And it doesn't make them any profit. So from their side of things, they're saying, right, if we get this model railway out, yeah, we'll put the token message on the end, yes, we're going to find them a new home, which is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, right, we'll put some more charity shops in there, and we can expand the charity shops and basically put more stuff in there and hopefully draw more people in. But as we've all said, charity shops are 10 a penny on the high street. I mean, because that's where I am in Ramsey. I mean, you talk about at least about five to 10 different charity shops in the local area.
Yeah.
That alone is not an attraction to bring people to the site. Actually, properly managing and advertising a heritage model railway is very unique and actually very interesting, and there's a lot on there to entertain people, not just enthusiasts, but families and all that as well, and people interested in engineering and stuff.
What is the actual function of the foundation? I mean, what is it that they do other than running charity shops? What is the money being raised for?
The quote I have on my video was it was created to ease loneliness and vulnerabilities amongst those who are disabled and the elderly. So basically, it's a wellness charity designed to help those in need, basically. And they do all sorts of stuff. I showcase it on the early start of the video, saying they have all these different courses on site. They have two sides, basically. It's quite a large area. It's on both sides of a main road, and on one side they have kind of like yoga retreats and all that sort of stuff where people can pay to go and do those. So they make money out of doing those. They have a cafe on site and they have that sort of things, but they haven't really done anything to push the wellness and the mental health side of things of the model railway.
I mean, that's one of the things that I'm always a huge advocate for is the mental health benefits of, for example, model railways. You know, any hobby, but particularly model railways, and it goes above and beyond just the activity side of it. You know, there's the social side of it, and we found this through lockdown. A lot of people suddenly found the rug pulled out from underneath them because their lifeline had been going to model railway clubs, going to exhibitions, and suddenly that was taken away, and it was very difficult for a lot of people. And is there no thought from them actually using the model railway as a part of what the charity can offer? Clearly some people know about it because they're involved with it. I know Les is a fairly recent, in the grand scheme of things, volunteer there. So why don't they make more of the model railway?
Exactly. It's frustratingly, since the announcement from the trustees, it's been radio silence. They're not engaging. They haven't engaged with anyone. When people have, from what I've been told, those who have taken on board the recommendation to email them and to voice their disapproval of the decision, and that I've just had the copy and paste and out of their press release just sent back to them. Not engagement, not interested in meeting any of the points. A business plan was drawn up and submitted to them. That was within the team. One of the issues that we have at the moment is particularly amongst the older guys. They've been involved with this model railway now for several decades. They are really hurt to put it bluntly, by the decision. They don't want to stay, any of it. And particularly amongst the older guys, they have no faith that if they stayed and left it there, after they're gone, which, let's be honest, won't be long, they haven't got many years left, and then they're getting on very old now, what's going to happen to it when they're gone? They don't have the younger lot coming in to take it on board and to do stuff. So from a lot of their side of things, we'll try and combat the fact that amongst their side of things, there's, I won't say defeatist attitude, but on their points thinking, right, we'll just wrap this up here. This will be the end of the legacy, and we'll do what we will with it. From my side of things, and particularly a lot of the guys who've been involved in some of the forums as well, and there's a lot of chat going on in the background, and thanks to them, because they've been brilliant coming forward and stuff. There's a lot of very intelligent and experienced people coming on board with this and questioning things and putting things forwards and helping to write up business plans and stuff to submit to the trustees, so that come the 19th of December, if they haven't overturned this decision, or more importantly, offered the 6-month stay of execution, which we've been pushing for, which is the main thing, to say, right, okay, give us 6 months. We will show you how you manage this properly. We will show you how many people you can bring in through the door. We will introduce an entry fee. We will show you actually you will make far more money from doing this than you will a charity shop. Oh, and by the way, here are all these benefits that come from doing this, which actually meet what you set out for as your objectives of a charity. So that is the key objective for what we're going for at the moment. What hasn't been helpful, though, is we're still waiting on a press release from the Model Railway team. It's been over 2 weeks now since the decision, and we're none the wiser as to what the actual Model Railway team actually want to do. If they want to stay, fantastic, we're going to be on board to help them. If they want to relocate and they have somewhere potentially to go, okay, we might not necessarily agree with that, but we will respect their wishes and we'll go above and beyond to try and help them. At the moment, we're kind of twiddling our thumbs. There's not really much we can do. We can't, like I say, well, the article has gone out to Railway Modeller. As far as I'm aware, they're the only ones at the moment, and that was done kind of offline stuff. That was just an awareness piece.
Have you contacted some of the other magazines, people like Phil Parker at BRM or Mike Wilde at Hornby magazine?
So they are aware. It's not something which I've done because it's not really my place to, particularly on that side of things, not without their wishes. So basically, we've gone to them and said, right, we are prepared to do this. We are prepared to help you and go above and beyond and bring in extra content creators and produce videos together to you, advertise stuff, do leaflets, drop them at exhibitions, promote the stuff. Literally, we do loads of stuff we can do. But we don't want to do it unless if they're suddenly going to turn around and say, right, we're going to do all this work for you, and they're going to say, no, we're not. We're just going to close it. We're going to rip it up on the 19th of December. So it's kind of stuck. So hoping that from the recent, because apparently on Friday they had about 50 people through the door. It was half term as well in that area, which was great. But frustratingly, they missed an opportunity with that because we could have pushed that in that week to have drawn in far more people in that area. Yes, it's half term this week where I am, and potentially you could get an overflow in there. But realistically, you're not going to pull that many people out of county in to come and visit this attraction because they don't know about it. That's more the later thing that we will do by advertising it and spreading it word and making it an actual attraction that people want to travel to, a bit like you would say with Pending, because it's Pending quality. You've got other places like I mentioned in the video, like Roxham Miniature World, Ainrec down in Kent. These are specific built model railway attractions. I mean, even to a less extent, Rail World in Peterborough has a wildlife side of things, but it is centered around the model railway stuff. So they do generate proceeds and pulling people. And it's a case of promoting that to bring them in.
There's a very popular one down at Trago Mills, actually. We went round there, we filmed it, and it got an incredible response to that video. And all of these things, one of the common theme where you see them at other places is they're treated as an asset, which they are. And it feels a little bit like, almost like a fait accompli, that it's being presented, we want you out. But one of the things I did talk with Les originally about is there anything in writing that gives the railway any kind of protection? Going back to the days of David Clarke moving it there, was anything put in place that could be used to actually say, the Board of Trustees is going against the ethos and the wishes of the Shuttlewood Clarke Foundation, as is, either in documentation, or even in interviews, articles, video footage, where he's actually said, this is important because that you can then go and say, actually, you're acting contrary to the wishes of the founding of the foundation.
Yeah. The short answer to that is yes, there are things that are going on at present. There are some legal stuff involved, which I can't go into further.
That's
understandable. It is being looked at by people far more knowledgeable than me.
Because that was the route which I thought would have been the
most obvious route, certainly.
A very powerful route.
Yeah.
And I think possibly part of the problem is that you can see how important this is for wellness and mental health of people. The fact that the people involved, a lot of them, it's absolutely been so destructive to them to learn that, we're just turfing you out. You can see how important this was to the mental well-being of these people. And, there's so much opportunity to bring more people in, use it as an opportunity to get newer, younger volunteers involved, and actually, promote the virtues of, this can be part of the portfolio of wellness, of improving people's mental health.
Yeah, it's like, if it actually was advertised, because people who've been involved in the model railway hobby for decades have never heard of this place. And when you show them the pictures of it, as I say in the video, they're like, I can't believe I've never heard of it. It's amazing. It looks fantastic. I'd like to go and see it. When's it open? It's only open for a couple of days during the week. Why is it not open at weekends? And that's the sort of thing that you start going down and thinking, there are far better ways of managing this. And it's like, for all those sort of things where they would come back and say, we don't have the volunteers to open it at the weekends. Well, then there's always a reply to it where you could say, well, actually, no, if you did do that, you then bring in younger volunteers. And then from the younger volunteers coming in, you've then got the longevity of operating as an attraction, because then they learn the skills that are required to operate it when the older guys who are now in the years are passing on.
Yeah, and that's it. That what they actually need is, in many respects, it sounds to be like having a press officer whose job is to promote the railway, to get people involved. Unfortunately, it does feel a little bit like that's become too late, and perhaps this is something that
from what I have heard is it wasn't necessarily the model railway team's fault for not advertising it. The trust were actually anti-advertising the railway, if you can believe that, which just doesn't make sense.
It does. Obviously, I understand that we can't speculate, but it does. It does make me wonder. There's something deeper involved, particularly where it doesn't sound like there's any kind of consultation. They've just been served with this notice. But I know from talking with Les, they're saying that there's been some upheaval with the trustees. Has the amount of publicity that this has drawn actually affected any kind of change?
Some stuff has happened. I'm not going to comment on it publicly because I don't know how public the information is, so therefore protect people, I don't want to say. But I'm hoping these emails are being. Someone's replying to them. So
it's not being set as an auto reply.
Who knows? But they've been out there. Social media was tied down, not allowing any comments or response to it, and things like that. So it's been quite difficult actually to get people's things. The main thing is for people to say, show the port, to say if you can't visit, yes, by all means send the email, register your disapproval on it. You're an extra voice against this decision, and every little bit helps. But the main thing that we're stressing, if you can get over to it on a Friday, and we're saying Friday, it is open Wednesdays and Fridays, but Wednesdays is a bit unreliable at the moment, unfortunately. So Fridays is the key day to actually visit it, between 10 o'clock and 3 p.m. If you can get there, please do so. But more importantly, if you do go there, ask them, have they got the visitor book? They should have a visitor book. Please record on that. You don't need to give your full address, but just record whereabouts you travelled from to come and visit this, so they can actually say, all right, recently we've had these numbers through who've travelled here. Yeah. But also, really importantly, if you do visit, go and spend some money in the cafe shop. Go and get yourself a bacon sandwich and a cup of tea. Stick your head in the charity shops, maybe buy a second-hand teddy bear or something. You're not going to use it, whatever. It's 50p. But they've seen someone's come in, they've visited the model railway. Let them know in the charity shop, oh, we've come in to visit the model railway. Oh, by the way, we've come in and also got stuff in the charity shops. That's what the trustees will notice. They will notice the extra footfall coming in relation to that. Because at the moment, all they've got to pull people in is a cafe, which is a perfectly fine cafe, and some charity shops. Yeah, that's great. They don't advertise the model railway.
And I think actually
so
the model railway...
they're not going to pull in extra people by just saying, oh, we've got another charity shop. Whereas if they actually say, we've got a unique model railway attraction here, an indoor attraction during the winter months, which is warm. You don't have to worry about paying for your heating. It's a warm location. You can come and visit that. There's other stuff that are going on there. There's the walks that are in the area. You can bring the children on a rainy day. It's a cheap day out. And it's just really like basic stuff, really. And I think that will pull people in and then really benefit the foundation. So I think it's a key time to do it, really, the winter months, really. Yeah,
I think it's very important to actually demonstrate how much of an asset it can be by doing that. But I've just we've got a comment here saying it is public knowledge one director of the trust has resigned, so may or may not be related. I don't know that. But also, if things go down the route where it has to move, is it possible to actually say, well, okay, look, it's unreasonable to say you have to be out by X date, given the cost of moving it, given the logistics of moving it, and actually saying, well, look, if you're going to force us to move, you need to actually make that happen. And not by just going in there and cutting it up and destroying it, but saying, if you want it out, this is what it's going to cost. So, pay up or we can't move. And actually,
they've gone on record now on their statement of saying we will make every effort to find a new home. So from that side of things, they put themselves forward to say, okay, you've said you're going to help relocate this. On the flip side, it's their asset. So if they can't find a home for it, then as far as they're concerned, well, we'll just get rid of it because it's ours to do what we want with.
But that then comes down to what paperwork actually there is to actually kind of give a legal grounding, not just to the railway's existence, but to why it's there, the ethos of why it's there, and what kind of protections are written into the trust's founding documents. Because by the sound of it, the railway was there before the trust was.
Yeah, it's like I say, he started that beforehand, and when he founded the foundation, he relocated it there. So it's effectively been there since day one.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's kind of like it's a foundation where the founder's name is in the name of the charity, and his legacy is that railway that's on site. And yet there is nothing there on site to advertise or say anything that's there, or even anything on site that says anything about them.
Les has actually said in the chat, he said that they actively just won't advertise it. It feels like it's being sort of squeezed out, and has been for quite some time. But there's a lot of people in the chat saying they've never heard of this. It's like the best kept secret of Leicestershire. And
when you actually go and look at it, the detail it's old school modelling. So you have to accept that you're not going to get something and you're going to see like, oh, laser cut, detail, 3D printed, and static grass. You're not going to see any of that. What you are going to see is proper artisan work.
Yeah.
So this is where people have taken a long time to make something and made it with love and care.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see that.
It sounds like it could very easily be marketed as the pendant of Leicestershire.
Yeah.
It sounds, certainly from the pictures and the videos that Les has shared over the years, it is of the quality where you could say, this has the potential of being a hell of an asset, of being something that could be really quite well known, that could actually probably bring in far more footfall than a blooming charity shop would. It just seems that it's been kept secret. And, maybe one option would be to approach someone like the people who run Pendon and say, look, is there anything you can do to help us? to make
that
this.
That has been done. That's one thing I can come forward and say. Not so independent, but people who are experienced in operating these sort of attractions as legitimate businesses that fund themselves is actively being looked on. There are people involved with it. I can say that. Obviously, I'm not going to comment.
I understand.
Stuff, but
it just
people are
feels
involved.
like a sorely underused resource that's just being squandered by not being advertised, not being promoted by the trust, and it just feels so short-termist to go, oh, we want that space for a charity shop. How many charity shops does one location need? And
one example that I can give, which we put forward a recommendation. So the fact that David Clarke was integral in the foundation of the Great Central Railway. Great Central Railway is 5 miles down the road.
Yes.
They have numerous events, and one of the events that they have is a model railway weekend.
Yes.
You put on a heritage shuttle bus called the Shuttlewood Shuttle, it writes itself, which travels from the Great Central and brings punters over to visit the David Clarke Railway. They will bring in one weekend far more people than they ever have football going into those charity shops.
I
guarantee, but not even 6 months, maybe even a year. So you think how many thousands of people turn up on the Great Central weekend for a big event?
And you think all those people go, oh, there's a cafe, we'll have our lunch whilst we're here. And before you know it, it's a massive asset that can be used. And that's what I mean by an asset that's being squandered by being hidden away and not promoted. Is, this is something that could actually earn the trust far more than anything else. It could actually, if marketed right, if run in the right way, this could be the thing that actually pays for all the other activities. Forget about, selling bric-a-brac and jigsaws with missing pieces. The model railway has the potential. You look at miniature Wunderland, you look at places like Pendon, and you look at places that are an attraction in their own right and that will bring in really good amounts of footfall, and with that the spending power, and it beggars belief that the trust cannot recognise that they're sitting on the best asset that they will ever have on their site.
If you look at it from the side of from what the Shuttlewood name is and means to people, very few people have heard of it apart from those directly involved with it. When people say, oh, the Shuttlewood Foundation, they immediately think Shuttleworth, which is a brand in its own right. So they're kind of benefiting in some ways from the positive word of Shuttleworth, but all they're getting now is massive negative press from what they're currently doing with the railway. No one's talking about the Shuttlewood Clarke Foundation in a positive light at the moment. And there is a lot of negative press out there. They turn around on this and actually kind of wake up and see the green light on this and go, oh, hang on a minute, we can actually do things. We can do things better. And as I say in my video, have a word with yourselves. There's better things you can be doing here, and you can actually generate a hell of a lot of positive word that's going to benefit your foundation as a charity overall through this model railway. Yes. And it's there. It's set up. It's not going to cost you anything. Yeah. There are people on hand right now willing to do this for free. Yes. Extra volunteers coming on board just on the fact that it's announced to be closed.
And the thing is that you would get volunteers who might come to help on the railway and actually then volunteer in other things. Go, actually, I'll do an hour or 2 hours in the charity shop or volunteer in the cafe, and before you know it. You have a healthy supply of volunteers. There's so much potential here. It does feel wrong that it's not being utilised to the benefit of the charity, and it just feels very short-sighted. But hopefully we can shine a light on this. Already we've got a lot of people in the comments saying, they never knew about this railway, but now they do. And obviously they can find out more from your video that goes into great depth on this, and be able to send an email, I guess, not just to the trustees, but maybe this is something where approaching the local MP to the area might be an avenue to gain some support. MPs from any party political persuasion don't like to turn down the potential to schmooze and look like they can sweep in and save everything. So, maybe this...
Well, I know a lot of media contacts have been given the heads up and approached, but until we get this press release from the railway, we can't move forward on anything. So that's to say, if any of them are watching this, which I hope they are.
I know that Les Cliff is in the chat.
Please get that press out. Make a decision on what you want to do, and we'll support you. Regardless of what it is, we will have our support. But we're really encouraging you to fight and stay.
And actually, Ham Shackleton says, asks whether you'd seen his suggestion approaching their black belt barrister, who's a very, very big YouTuber, an actual barrister who gives legal, a legal commentary on various things, and see whether they can offer any guidance. Obviously, they've got a huge audience, and this may be something that, if they were to make content on, it would not only help the model railway from the point of view of getting very, very good legal advice, but also raising the profile as well. And
he potentially would be able to do a video highlighting the issue and make some comments on it, but he wouldn't be able to offer actual legal advice.
Right.
That's the only thing.
I think certainly looking
unless
at...
paid.
But at the end of the day, if you don't ask, you don't get.
I think pro bonum is what was discussed. Some barristers will work on that on a pro bonum basis, I think it's called, which is basically on what we call like in grace or whatever the words I'm trying to think of for it. But again, they are few and far between. I know from personal experience, trying to get one was very difficult. I probably less said the better.
No worries. Well, look, we'll direct people. Les Cliff says that on his Not Lobia page, Facebook page, there's a lot of information there. People want to learn more, they can go there. There's also your video as well. I'm sure, if they're not already done so, I'm sure the moderators will be able to share the link to that in the chat. And it's just a case of not just getting the word out there, but, get down there. People, get down there on the days it's open, on the Friday. What times are we looking at on a Friday? To actually 10 till 3. So it's a great opportunity. Get down there. And as you said, Steve, as well, tell everybody there the reason you are there is the model railway. And I don't mean just to the people at the model railway. If you go in the cafe, you tell them, we're only here because of the model railway. If you go in the charity shops, we're only here because of the model railway. And the more people that do that, the more word will trickle back and say, actually, we're getting a lot more footfall. And every single person is saying they're here because of this amazing asset that's being underutilized. So, look,
I do say in my video as well that if you aren't able to get there because it's during the week, put that in your email to the trustees to say you would very much like to visit, but unfortunately your opening hours preclude that. Please open at weekends.
Yes.
Because for some reason they're very anti-opening at weekends. It makes no sense.
Is this the trust or is this the volunteers that run the model railway?
No, the volunteers on site, so the volunteers in the cafe are more than happy to open at the weekends. The trustees are unwilling to open at the weekends because one of them would have to work one of the days. Right. So basically it's kind of like, well, if you're going to pull in enough people to do it, you can employ someone. So you don't have to do it. Yeah. And then it funds itself.
And that's it. I was like, we can't make any money because I'd have to come into work to make money. It seems a really weird standpoint. And again, these are all
there's
things...
so much I could say about it, and I could rant on it for ages.
But these are all things to actually, in any kind of, if a legal route were to be sought in the end, to actually say, look, they're being unreasonable. And I think, the test of unreasonableness, it's things like this. It's always worth making a note of that so that they can be brought up at a later date and say, we were willing to do this and you just said no. We were willing to do this and you said no. And actually, that can be a very powerful tool if it has to go to some kind of legal arbitration as well. Yeah. But look, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute honour. I know we've talked at shows before, but it's the first time you've come on the show. And it's really great to have you on. And like we said at the start, really great the things you're doing on your YouTube channel, not just with the David Clarke Railway, but filming at exhibitions. And